The school bell rang and Basil slung his book bag over his shoulders to head home. The book bag was heavy. Since the morning, his mind was heavy and heavy as if he had lost something. He was lethargic and had no interest in anything. Even when his friends invited him to play, he remained aloof. This happens once in a while, but today he felt that it was a little more. He started walking alone as there was no one to accompany him, even to come home. The pack was heavy. Anyway, it seemed too much for a third-grade student to carry. His shoulders were sobbing. His stomach was drawn in, his back was arched, and his gait was weak. If it was in the morning, mother or father would come and leave the school. If grandfather was at home, he would come to the school fast on TVS 50. There was a kind of pride mixed in that day. It was not far from the house and the school. The road was narrow and narrow. He walked. When he turned around the corner of the street, he saw the house. Seeing his grandfather's TVS 50 in front of the house, Thembai sped up his pace like a newborn. Swathi came running in front of him before he could take it. She didn't come to school today, so he thought she was running to know about tomorrow's schoolwork. She ran near and stopped short of breath. Kundu said, "Basil?" "Basil. Your grandfather is dead." Basil, who had not yet had the chance to digest the matter, could only feel that he had truly lost something. His gait became more relaxed than before. When he reached home, TVS 50 seemed to be standing forlornly. The rotten mixture of petrol engine oil was dripping darkly. The oil was spread on the floor, reflecting the colors. If it was another time, he would have stirred the 7-color mixture of oil spread on the floor with a stick, and stood and enjoyed the beauty of the mixture of colors. The weight of the book bag he was carrying was not too heavy for him now, because his mind was heavy and tight. The wind was blowing lightly. Dust settled on the seat of TVS 50 moped. Sunday. The doorbell rang. Basil opened the door. Grandpa was standing with a bag of vegetables in his hand. "Arntichi, only chicken now. 2 kilos will be fine." As asked, he gave the bag to his grandmother and came to him. Basil Inda. Ivan took the chocolate package that he held out. Dad came from inside. Dude. Even so much to chat about. Oh. While saying this, he bought a chocolate from him and put it in his mouth and left. He was proud. He didn't even grow a mustache properly. He was still very childish in his actions. Dad was proud to buy the chocolate from him and came into the kitchen looking for Mom, taking the package to pour it out. Mother was applying oil to Father's head. Is Mother my mother or father? To get the idea that Mother, he called. "What?" "Shh. Into chocolate. There is oil in your hand. Hide it and go," she scolded, saying, "Your grandfather has no other job." Dad looked at him with chocolate in his mouth. He came out slowly. Grandmother was whispering something as she sat next to grandfather. "Oh, she gets angry and falls. Why do you buy chocolate and drink it? Your teeth are going to get bad. It's about daughter-in-law. Dude, don't eat that too." "Drink here?" "I drink in the evening." Grandma bought the package and kept it. He put a piece of chocolate in his mouth as he asked, "Is there chocolate?" "Allah's mercy. No sugar complaint." Grandpa looked at Grandma and me alternately as he put the package on the TV box. A slight smile crept on his lips. Devuda devuda. I was being sung on the TV. As a way to dissolve memories, someone's voice was heard saying, "Basil has arrived." No cry was heard from inside the house. Only several pairs of slippers were lying near the doorstep. He entered the middle room of the house. The body was lying on a wooden bench wrapped in a white cloth. New faces in the room, slight sadness on his father's faces. All eyes were on him. He looked for his grandmother. She was sitting on the other side of the wooden bench. His eyes were red. He seems to have cried a lot. The tears dried up and only the eyes were red and sad. He looked up at him, as if his eyes were inviting him. He slowly approached and hesitated. Something new was formed inside him and started from his stomach and reached his throat. He chewed and swallowed. TV. A package of chocolates clattered onto the box. He sat next to his grandmother. He held his hand and squeezed it gently. He looked up at his grandmother's face. There was no nervousness. He said, "Basil has come. Someone show me the cloth covering Munchie." He looked back. Grandfather. Chadsad was his grandfather. His hands were covering his head. His eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. His hands trembled a little. Just like that, Ta'avi held his grandfather's waist tightly and started crying, "Oh," and his body was shaking. "The fox is scared. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't be afraid." Voices. Strange voices. Unfamiliar new voices. His grandfather picked him up and leaned on his shoulder. Now he turned slowly and saw the body lying face down on the wooden bench. His grandmother's father, fondly identified by them as Bidi Dada, was smoking sada bidi and had a big mouth with a smile that never changed. After some time, many people came and saw. Went Basil looked for his mother. She was missing. He thought she might be in the kitchen. His grandfather let him down. He entered the bedroom next to him. His father was sitting there. He could see a sadness on his face that he had never seen before. He climbed on the bed and fell asleep like that. In his dream, his father suddenly grew a beard and a mustache and looked like a big man. "My grandfather is dead. Bidi grandfather is dead." He comes near. The smell of chocolate from his mouth starts entering his nostrils. His body shook once. Someone caressed his back. He opened his eyes. It was Dad. He slowly turned around and held Dad's hands tightly. He felt as if his mind was flying.